It should be live. Hello everyone, for those of you that are joining. Welcome on in. Happy Saturday. Hope you're having a good day. Just making sure that everything is set up okay here and everything is working as it should be. So it looks like video is working. Excellent. Hopefully you can hear me. If there is anyone currently watching, if you could just let me know if the audio is okay, that you can hear me and that everything is going okay out there. So for those of you that are joining me, welcome to my craft room. Happy Saturday. I hope you are all having a great day. Whatever it is that you are doing, probably something at home, with this year being what it is. Okay. So the picture looks fine. This is what we're going to be working with today, the lovely Joy to the World paper pumpkin kit from Stampin' Up. Thank you, Rach. Glad to hear sound is okay. Picture is still looking good. We don't have any breaking up pictures this time around by the looks of it. Hopefully we've managed to sort out the Wi-Fi issues that we were having last time. So yes, a very festive kit that we're going to be using today. The paper pumpkin kit. This one is called Joy to the World. As you can see here, it is a specially designed kit, and as we go through all of the pieces, I'll explain a little bit more about that. This is currently still available in my store, so if you did miss out on grabbing this before today's live video, not a problem. Head over to my store with Stampin' Up. You can grab one of these kits and then come back to this video at a later date. It will be available on Facebook, and I'll also repost it to YouTube at the end of the broadcast today, so you can then follow along with me and put your kit together. So inside the kit, I've actually not opened this. I haven't pre-done this ahead of time. I am going in blind today, so this is going to be a fun experience, shall we say. This is what we get inside the kit. So paper pumpkin kits, when they're available to us, include everything that you need to put the entire project together. So first of all, we have an ink spot. This is in Just Jade. So this is one of our new colours for this year. It's a really lovely jade green. We also have a stamp set. So you can see here we've got a couple of different sentiments, a nice wreath image, and then a couple of floral pieces as well. You'll always have an information card. So this tells you about the kit and gives you some ideas. And this one also, like I said, this is a specially designed kit. There's a couple of different things that are going on with this particular kit. So some of the pieces in here are in different languages, and it has a little translation for you down here. And as we get through into those pieces, I'll explain that a little bit further. And then wrapped oh so nicely in our tissue paper here, we have all of the other bits and pieces that we need to put our cards together. So I'm just going to grab all of this out of the box, if I can grab hold of it, and put the box out of the way to one side. So here is our kit. These are the cards that we're going to be making today, and these are all of the pieces that you need to put this together. So I'm just going to grab some scissors and get into this package. And for those of you joining me at this point, welcome. Happy Saturday. I hope you are having a lovely day, whatever it is that you're up to today. I'm crafting. That's pretty much all I do these days. For those of you that haven't seen my recent Instagram post, for the second time this month, I've been advised to self-isolate for a number of reasons, none of which are really my fault, unfortunately. Just the way that life is at the moment. So I'm not leaving the house and I'm doing a lot of crafting. That is pretty much my life currently. So why not craft with you all live on video and show you how to make some really nice Christmas cards. Okay, all of my pieces are free of their plastic, and I'm just going to quickly go through everything that we get in the kit here. So we have a sheet of stamping dimensionals and also a sheet of mini glue dots. There are some embossed pieces here, so I don't know if you can see, maybe if I hold these up a little bit closer so you can see them. These have been pre-embossed for us, and these look a little bit like a Christmas jumper or a knitted kind of texture on there. I'm pretty sure we have an embossing folder that looks similar to this in the catalogue. I'd have to double check that, but yeah, sort of like a cable knitted texture on that one. You have then a whole bunch of envelopes, and these are lined inside. So this is with all of the words on this little translation sheet here. So it's peace, joy and love in both English, French and German on the inside of those. And I think these are all the same. Yes, they are all the same inside those this time around. We have some pre-die cut pieces for sentiment. So these are also stitched around the edge, so there are die cuts on there. Then we have our card bases. So we've got two different styles. So one's for cards going this way, and then one for cards going this way with this nice gold foil detail on them. And then we have some pre-printed die cuts. So wreaths and this lovely, I guess like a Christmas rose image on here. All pre-printed and die cut for you, ready to just pop out. And then here we have the gold foil pieces. So hopefully the reflection on this isn't too bright for you. I'll stop moving it so it doesn't fling the light around everywhere. So this is where our translation sheet comes in here. So you've got the three words. So you've got peace, joy and love across here, but then like I said, you also have this in two other languages as well. So in French you have paix, which is here, joy and amour. Here, so where's joy? There it is, and amour, and then also in German as well, so harmony, Freude and Liebe. And so the idea is that you can use the different languages depending on who you're sending your cards to. So say you have some friends over in France and you wanted to send them a Christmas card with a greeting in their language. For example, instead of using the joy sentiment in English here, you could use the French version on the front of your card, and this little sheet will just help to remind you which is which to be able to do that. So let us get started in assembling our cards. I'm just going to move some of these pieces out of the way slightly so I have a little bit more room to work with. And I'm going to bring back in here my instruction sheet. So like I said, this shows you all of the cards that we're going to be making here today. So we are making, let me just double check, so it is 8 cards that we're putting together. And these are the different designs that we have. And then you have inside some instructions. It's always super simple with Paper Pumpkin. These are incredibly easy kits to put together. I would definitely recommend them if you are sort of a beginner stamper, or if you've not done a lot of stamping before, because they are so simple. So it literally says, stamp the stitched die cut labels and wreaths, add some twine to the embossed pieces and adhere to the card bases, and layer and adhere the pieces in this order. And that's basically it. So you just follow the pictures that you have here, follow those steps and put your cards together. So I shall join with you, talk you through how to do this. So don't worry, like I said, if you've never stamped before, this is a really nice simple way to get into this. And we shall do some stamping first of all. I'm going to stamp my sentiments. So you're going to need this piece here, your die cut and stitched sentiment pieces. And you're also going to need some of your sentiments from your stamp sheet. So first of all, I'm going to grab the Merry Christmas stamp. Just peel that off the backing. And it looks like we also need a couple of these words here. So we need sending and to the world. And then also to you and yours. Okay, I'm going to pop the rest of my stamps to one side just for the moment. I'm going to grab my ink spot here and just see if I can get into this. This always foxes me. They do have a perforation on one side to help you get into your ink pad. So I'm just going to cheat and actually score it with my scissors along the line, and hopefully I can get in that way. There we go. done it. So we have our little mini ink pad. I'm going to pop all of my stamps onto blocks so they're ready to go. So I've got a couple of different sizes of clear blocks. This is a clear block G that I'm going to use for these smaller sentiments here. I'm going to use a clear block B for this little one, which is the word sending. And then for the Merry Christmas, I'm going to grab a clear block D and just pop that across there at an angle just so it fits on nicely. So I'm going to refer to my picture here to see how we are putting these all together. So I'm going to start with the Merry Christmas sentiments for these 4 cards here. So it's just nice and simple. We're stamping Merry Christmas onto these large rectangular tags. So with my little mini ink pad, I'm going to turn my stamp block over and taking my ink pad, hi Ruby, taking my ink pad to my stamp block, I'm just going to lightly tap the ink over my stamp just to make sure I get a nice even layer of ink all the way over my stamp. And then taking my stamp to my die cut piece, I'm going to line this up and then stamp straight down and lift straight back up, and there is my first stamp. I'm going to repeat this until all 4 of these larger rectangle pieces have been stamped. So for those of us that are, those of you that are joining me today, let me know where you're watching from, what you're up to today, if you have any crafty plans, or if you're just enjoying a nice relaxed Saturday afternoon. Maybe you're watching some Christmas films, getting into the festive spirit. I know a lot of people have already put up their trees and so on. I haven't gone quite that far. I'm tempted to get some lights up around the window at the front. I'm probably not going to put my Christmas tree up this year. We're not having anyone sort of visiting for Christmas. It just seems like a lot of effort, to be honest, just for the 2 of us. So we may or may not put that up later next month. But I still think I might decorate the living room. Yeah, add some fairy lights around the place. Hang our stockings on the fireplace. Obviously, we need to do that. If we don't do that, Santa can't visit. So, very important part. Okay, last one then. Just going to finish stamping these. Like I said, when you are inking up your stamp, you just want to do some nice light taps over the surface of the stamp to make sure you get some ink all the way over. You don't need to really sort of press hard into your stamp with your ink. You don't need to sort of smush it into there. Just light taps is all you need. Okay, that is my last Merry Christmas stamp on there. So I'm going to rotate these around, pop my stamp to one side out of the way. And then looking at my sheet here, I can see we've got a couple of different designs here. So we've got one here that says sending peace, and we've got joy to the world, and then love to you and yours. So let us stamp a couple of those. I'm going to do the sending first of all. I'm going to do exactly the same thing, just using my teeny tiny ink pad, ink up my stamp. So this is the word sending. And then I'm just going to stamp this straight down onto one of these die cuts, nicely in the middle. Apologies if my head is getting into the camera shot here. Hopefully it's not too much. Okay, and that one didn't ink up very well. That can happen sometimes with photopolymer stamps when you first use them. They sort of have some grease on them from being manufactured. So either clean off your stamps first, or if you need to go back and stamp it again, then do. Luckily we do have an extra one of these, so even though I've messed that one up, I can do another one to replace it. Okay, so again, just straight over. There we go, that one's better. And on that note, I'm just going to clean off my other 2 stamps to make sure that they stamp nice and fully first time for us. Okay, so this time I have the to you and yours, and I want to stamp this one just once again apparently. So again I'm just inking up my stamp, nice light taps over the surface of my stamp here, and then I'm going to hover my stamp over my sentiment die cuts here just to make sure I've got this nicely lined up, and then stamp it straight down and lift straight back up. And then the last one that we're stamping is To the World, and I'm going to do this one twice, and to make my life a little bit simpler I'm going to turn this around just so I can stamp onto these bottom two tags here, that I'm not having to lean right the way over and put my head in the shot again. So let's get that one stamped. So straight down and lift straight back up. And then the last one I'm just going to repeat that again. So another one of the To the World stamps. Okay, again just line this up with your tag and then pop it straight down and lift straight back up. Okay, so those are our sentiments all stamped and ready to go. There's one more piece of stamping that we need to do, and this is actually, we're going to be stamping onto these die cut wreath pieces here. So in the instructions here you can see they've stamped over the top using the wreath stamp that we have in the set. So let me bring these in. I'm going to grab another clear block for this and my wreath stamp. And with this I like to lay the stamp down. When you peel it off the backing sheet it can warp it slightly, so to make sure that it stamps nice and evenly, just lay it back down before you put it onto your block, and then that way it's gone back to its normal shape, ready for you to ink up. So let me just see how many of these we have. So we've got 5 sheets of these die cuts. Looking at the directions we actually only need 4. So again, if you do mess one of these up, it's not a problem, you do have a spare. So there's always sort of an extra in case things do go horribly wrong. And what I will do, just before I actually put some ink onto the stamp, I'm going to see how this lines up, if it actually does specifically line up on here. Maybe that way. Okay, that looks good. So, taking my mini ink pad again, I will just clean off my stamp before we ink it up, just to make sure there's no sort of manufacturing grease or dirt on there. And I'm going to take my mini ink pad to my stamp, and then again just lightly tap all over the surface of my stamp just to get some nice even ink coverage on there. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp this down onto my wreath piece. So again, I'm just going to take a moment to line this up and then press straight down. And then lift my stamp straight back up, and there is my stamped wreath. And I'm going to repeat that again 3 more times so that I have 4 of my wreaths nicely stamped. So if you are joining me today, do you do any Christmas crafting? Are you planning on making some Christmas cards this year? Do you make crafted gifts? Are you planning on giving something that you've made? In the past I've made soap before. I did some soap last year. We've done a little bit of festive baking for people. So we have some Christmas puddings and Christmas cakes that we are shipping to some of our family around the country, since we're unfortunately not going to be able to see them before Christmas. What else did I do? I've previously given away tins of cards as Christmas presents. So some of the cards that I make, sort of all occasion cards, Christmas cards, birthday cards, you know, thank you cards, all kinds of different types of ones. I've put them into a nice tin and decorated the outside of it, and given that as a Christmas present before. So I do tend to do a fair bit of crafting around this time of year. Definitely when it comes to packaging as well, I like to make sure that anything that I am gifting is really nicely wrapped, has, you know, nice festive tags on it and so on. Okay, that is 3 of our wreaths stamped, so just 1 more to go. So last wreath stamp going down on here. Press that all over the back just to make sure we get some good ink transfer there, and then lift that up. Okay, so that's all of the stamping that I need to do by the looks of this. Now of course you can always stamp the inside of your cards if you want to. There are a couple of different sentiments on here, so there is a inner sentiment. In fact, let us do that. Since we have the ink here and the stamp set, we may as well. I'm going to grab in my card bases. And like I said, these are in 2 different directions. So for cards that are going to be folded this way, you're going to want to stamp them this way up. And then you also have cards that are going to be folded this way, so you're going to want to stamp them this way up. So just double check that before you stamp, just to make sure that you are getting it on the right side. I'm going to grab myself another clear block from here. I'm just going to grab one of these D blocks so I can fit my sentiment onto it. So I'll clean off this stamp. And the stamp sets that you get in these paper pumpkin kits, once you have put your kit together, you can of course continue using the stamp set itself. You know, there's lots of different things that you can be doing with this. I did one recently. So back in the summer I put together a kit, the Box of Sunshine kit, and then I made some alternative cards using the stamp set that came with that kit. Other project kits that we have in the Stampin' Up catalogue as well, you can always use the stamp sets that come in those to make alternative cards as well. So once you have put all of this together, you know, sort of think outside the box, have a look at your craft supplies, see what else you have available and what else you can do with that stamp set. There are lots of lovely images and sentiments in this set, so I'm sure there are lots of different things that you could do with this and continue using it for other Christmas cards or gift tags, or even perhaps non-Christmas projects as well. Okay, let me see if I can get this lined up nicely into my card base. Pop that down on there. And I shall stamp the rest of these as well. Again, just making sure that I have my card bases the right way up and I'm stamping onto the right part. So same again, I'm just going to stamp this straight into the centre of my card. And then lift that back up. what I'm actually going to do with this, since we are using photopolymer stamps today, I'm going to grab in my Stamping PS mat. So this is just a solid foam mat, and with photopolymer stamps, obviously they don't have that sort of foam backing that red rubber stamps do. So sometimes having this sort of background pad helps to get a better impression with your stamps. So let's see if we can try this again. Okay, I'm going to ink this up again, just using my little mini ink pad. And of course, absolutely keep these, you know, with any of our project kits that include ink. These are the same, or it's filled with the same ink that come in regular stamping pads, and also in the refills as well. So if you have your minis, continue using it. If you don't have that colour as a full pad, you can use it in place of a full pad. You could always refill it if you wanted to, you know, to continue using your mini ink pad after it's run out as well. You can buy refills to do that. So definitely it's a really nice way of adding to your ink collection without buying a huge number of the full-size pads straight away if you didn't want to do that. And we actually have a set of these ink spots, as they're known, available in some of our common and sort of most regularly used bright colours in the catalogue at the moment. So if you are looking to sort of start out in stamping and you didn't want to buy lots of ink all in one go, that would be a great way to get quite a few colours of ink without sort of a huge outlay to start off with. Okay, now that I've done all of the cards that way, I'm going to just stamp the sentiments into the centre of these this way around. Yeah, that is the right way. Just wanted to double check that. Although I have, you know, as I'm sure we all have when we're crafting, I've always, there's always one card every year that comes out a bit special. It's either glued in the wrong way or something is upside down on it somewhere. I've done it back to front. I think especially when you're making a lot of the same card over and over again, it's very easy to get distracted and accidentally do something perhaps without thinking about it too much. I don't know about you, but I quite like to craft with the TV on, or some music in the background. And yeah, I've been known to mess up my cards every now and again. So for example, if it was this one, you know, I would stamp it this way up or something, so then it would be upside down and on the wrong side of the card. Yeah, definitely made some very unique Christmas cards. The kind of cards that only a mother would love. Not to say that I send my mum my duff cards. I definitely don't do that. Okay, almost there with stamping the inside of my cards. Just a couple more of these to go. Okay. This is such a nice green as well. It's just jade ink. Like I said, this is one of our rotating colours. So Stampin' Up have 4 main colour families. So you have your brights, subtles, regals and neutrals. So that's 40 colours. You know, lots of different colours are represented. You've got all kinds of greens and greys, yellows, oranges, reds, pinks, purples and blues, and all different shades in between. And then every year we have 5 sort of limited edition colours that come in for a 2-year run, and these are known as our in colours. So Just Jade is one of the in colours for this year. So it's for 2020 to 2022, along with some gorgeous colours with this particular sort of in colour season. And one of my favourite colours is in there, Magenta Madness, which is this amazing sort of neon blue pink shade, which is absolutely gorgeous. But they rotate in and out. So this year Like I said, these colours came in and the 2018 to 2020 in colours were retired. And it just helps to add in some extra colours, sort of more on trend colours. So as trends in crafting change, you know, we add in different colours to sort of suit those trends. And it sort of helps to fill in the gaps in the colour families as well. And again, it's another nice way to get yourself some ink without a huge outlay. They tend to come in a bundle pack of all 5 of the ink colours together, along with markers and sort of cardstock and so on that all coordinate. And it's just a really nice way to get quite a few different colours all in one go without spending a huge amount of money to sort of start your crafting journey. So now that I have stamped all of my sentiment pieces and my wreaths, and I have all of my cards stamped with the phrase on the inside, it is time to start putting these together. So first thing I'm going to do is to fold all of my card bases on the score line, and then using a bone folder I'm just going to run this along the score line. This just helps to burnish the crease. It helps your card to stay closed. And then once your recipient sort of puts it up on the mantelpiece or wherever they want to display their card, it helps it to stay so that it stands up properly. If you didn't burnish the score, it would try and open up and it wouldn't stand up very well. So nice and quick with this. You just want to apply a good amount of pressure with this. It just helps to, you know, enforce that score line in the cardstock and encourage it to stay closed. Okay, just going to finish doing these. Now if you have seen any of my previous videos on YouTube, the project tutorials that I post on there, or any of my previous Facebook live videos, you'll know that I don't like to leave my envelopes undecorated either. I always like to make sure that there's something on the envelope so that when it drops through the letterbox for whoever I'm sending my card to, they know that inside is a nice handmade card, a lovely sentiment that's been sent to them, rather than another bill or some of the other boring posts that we all get through the door. And of course this is no exception. I'm definitely going to stamp on these envelopes as well, so I'll be doing that towards the end. Don't let me forget. Okay, I have all of my card bases folded and the scores have been burnished. What I'm going to do then, just to make my life really easy, is pop out all of these pieces from their base paper. So all of these Merry Christmas sentiments. And these die cut pieces, they are literally just held in with tiny tags of the paper around the edges, and you just need to gently pull them away from the backing paper. They come out nice and easily, all pre-die cut for you. So no die cutting or punching involved in these kits. Everything is all done. You just get to have fun stamping and assembling and then sending your cards. Okay, last couple of these coming out. And then I'm also going to punch out in the same way all of these pieces as well. So we have our wreaths. Let's see if I can do this all in one go. Give it a bit of a wiggle. There we go. So yeah, if you stack them all up together, you should be able to punch all of these pieces out in one go. Just makes it a little bit quicker for you. Okay. So our Christmas sort of rose pieces and our Merry Christmas sentiments are going to go with our landscape cards over on this side. And they are going to go with, let's have a look, the square embossed piece. You've got two sizes of these embossed pieces of cardstock. One's square, one's rectangular. The square ones are going with your landscape cards, and the rectangular ones are going with your portrait cards, along with your mini sentiments for this. And then also your little wreath die cuts. So I'm just going to pop the middles of these out Okay, let us get some of these pieces put together then. So I've got here, like I said, these come with the kit. You've got two types of adhesive, your stamping dimensionals. So these are adhesive foam pads. They have adhesive on both sides. So there's like a backing sheet they're all stuck to, and then they have like a cover sheet over the top. And then you have these mini glue dots as well. And again, double-sided, so they're all stuck on a backing sheet with protective paper over the top. And the last thing that we are going to need to put all of our cards together is some of this twine. I'm pretty sure these are all cut to the same length. Let's just double check. So it is an 18-inch piece of twine that we are tying around or putting behind each of the embossed pieces. Now, in your Paper Pumpkin instruction book, you do have a ruler along the bottom, which is 9 inches long. So let me grab my twine and my good ribbon scissors, my nice sharp pair. So I'm going to need a piece that is double the length of this ruler for our 18 inches, which is 45.7 centimeters, but you have your ruler in inches, so it's going to be much easier just to use that. What I'm going to do then, once I have my 18-inch piece measured, is just keep looping this twine back and forth until I have 8 pieces. So I knew these lights would be an issue. There we go. Very festive, but perhaps not entirely practical. So 3, and there's 4. And 5. Okay, last couple. That is number 6. And then our final one. There we go, that should be 8 strands, all at roughly the same length. And we've even got a little bit of twine left over. So I'm going to just snip all of these loops to separate my strands. Okay, so let's pop these onto our cards then. So I'm going to start with the portrait cards and put these together first. So I'm going to take one of my card bases and one of my embossed pieces, one of my little wreaths, and one of my phrases. So I have the To the World phrase this time. So looking at this, To the World, we're going to need the Joy foil piece to go with this. And again, these are all pre-die cut for you. There are 2 sheets of these, and it's literally just a case of fairly carefully with these because they are a lot finer. Just popping these out of the backing sheet by tearing those little tabs that are holding them in place. There we go. So there's our die cut piece. So let's have a look how these are attached and just double check these. Okay, that's fine. So basically everything bar the foil is adhered with dimensionals, which makes it incredibly easy. So I'm going to take my embossed piece and one of my pieces of twine. I'm going to wrap the twine around here and tie it in a bow. So this will be a good laugh. I'm not great at tying bows at the best of times, especially not on the front of a card, and especially not when I'm live on camera. So chat amongst yourselves. We may be here for some time. Hopefully not. Let's see. I was saying recently that I need to get myself a pair of reverse tweezers. It's the type of tweezers that when you close them, or when you let go, they pinch closed. So I can hold the middle parts of my bows closed, like an extra pair of hands basically. So that's going on my Amazon list. I will find myself a pair of reverse tweezers to make this so much easier. Oh yeah, see, there we go. It's too loose already. Let's try that again. Ding ding, bow tying round 2. Okay. Nope, don't got it. If you have any great tips on how to tie bows on the front of your projects, like I say, I can do this. So tying shoelaces, absolutely fine. Obviously, I learned that quite a few years ago. When it comes to tying bows on the front of cards or on gift packaging or anything like that where it needs to A, look pretty, and B, I can't really move it, it's sort of stuck in one place. For some reason, I just massively struggle with that over and over and over again. Okay. One last try. Apologies, I'm sure this is incredibly painful to watch. I'm going to resort to doing bunny ears. Did anyone else learn to tie bows, first of all, before you did the sort of grown-up way of wrapping one loop around the other, of literally just making 2 little bunny ears and then tying them around each other? Was it just me? It can't have just been me that learnt to tie bows like that. Okay, there we go. I've got it. The bow is tied. Okay. So once you have a bow tied on the front of your piece of embossed cardstock, which probably won't take you as long as it has taken me, it's then time to adhere some of our pieces. I'm going to grab my little wreath die cut and some of my dimensionals and just pop these over the back. So probably just 3 of these dimensionals should be enough onto the back of your die cut piece. Make sure they're firmly pressed down and peel off the backs. And you want this to go roughly into the centre of your embossed piece. So just grab that out of the way. I'm going to move my bow just to one side. In fact, I'm going to actually just shimmy this over ever so slightly on the front of my cardstock, just so it is slightly more out of the way. And then I'm going to pop my die cut piece, like I said, roughly in the centre. And then my bow will sit just on the side like so. The next piece that we're going to add on then is our foil word, and this we're going to add on with the glue dots. Now for this I would definitely recommend using a tool to help you pick up the glue dots. It just makes it a whole lot easier. So flip over your foiled word. I'm using this is the Take a Pick tool, which is this handy tool that has lots of different attachments and ends in it. I'm using this very scary looking pointed end, but it allows you just to get under the edge of the adhesive for your glue dots and pick it up. And you want to pop your glue dots into places where the sort of loops join and the word is quite thick, just so that it hides the adhesive fully on the back of that word. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these and pop them onto the back of my foil word here. I think just one more should do us. Let's pop that one in there. And then again, using my Take a Pick tool, I'm just going to pull off the backing paper on my glue dots. Okay, and then you want to add your foiled die cut word across the centre of your wreath. Just like so. And then again we're going to use dimensionals to add our little sentiment piece on here. So just a couple of dimensionals across the back of here should be more than enough. And then this is going to sit just over the edge and and sort of the bottom of the wreath, like so. And then we're going to pop this whole piece onto the front of the card, again using some dimensionals. So you don't need too many on the back of here, and probably just 5 will be more than enough to hold this piece up. Again, smush them down, make sure they're nice and firmly stuck on the back of there. Peel off all of the backs. And then you just want to place this down into the center of your card base. And that is our first card done, with the sentiment stamped on the inside the right way up as well. Go me. So I'm going to repeat this again. So there's a second one of this card in exactly the same way. So if I grab in another card base and another of the wreath die cuts, our embossed piece, and then the sentiment piece that says "to the world," another piece of our twine, and again I'm just going to wrap this around my embossed piece of cardstock here, and hopefully tie a bow on the front. This is a part in my YouTube videos where I always speed this up, and you know, if it takes me 7 attempts to tie a bow, I can actually cut it out and you don't have to see it. It's a little bit different when I'm doing this live. I have to actually be able to tie this. Maybe I'll make it easier on myself and I'll just wrap it. No, let's do it properly. I can do this. I know it's not just me. It's a common complaint in the crafting world. People often say they struggle to tie bows, so I suppose there's that. I know it's not just me that has this affliction. It doesn't make it any easier though when it comes to trying to tie a nice neat bow on the front of my projects. Of course you can cheat as well. You could just do a single wrap of twine around your embossed piece so that the ends were a lot longer. I'm pretty sure that's how they are in the picture, to be honest. I just like the look of the double wrapped twine. It means you get to see it that little bit more. But that would certainly make it easier, and you might find that I change it up on the next two and just wrap it around the once instead of twice, so that I have slightly longer ends to play with. Okay, bow tied. Let's get some dimensionals onto the back of my wreath piece here. So again, I'm just going to pop 3 on the back of here. You don't need a huge number, it just is enough to support your wreath on the front of your card. So again, I'm just going to hold my bow to one side, slightly out of the way, while I stick my wreath piece down and try and get this fairly central. It's a handmade card, so if it's not exactly lined up, that's fine. And then you can just adjust your bow over the edge. There we go. And then I'm going to grab again my Joy foil piece. I think this time let's go French for this one, why not? Yeah, there we go. So the French word for joy is thankfully pretty much the same. That makes it nice and easy to spot on this list. So again, I'm just going to turn this over and grab some of my glue dots to go onto the back of here. So there's one. I'm going to pop another one just down here. And again, I'm just going to stab into that backing paper just to peel it off. And then our foil die cut just sits across the centre of the wreath. And then our final piece, our stamped sentiment, I'm just going to pop that on with a couple of dimensionals again. just under there. Make sure that the bow is nicely on the side, and flip the whole thing over, and again pop some dimensionals onto the back. Peel the backs off these. And then attach this to the front of the card. So that's our first two cards done, so one in English and one with our sentiment in French as well, just to change it up a little bit. Okay, moving on then to the next one. So still sticking with the portrait cards, so again I've got another card base, I've got my embossed piece and my sentiment stamp and my wreath. And for this one, let me just double check which sentiment we've got in here. So we've got to you and yours. So the sentiment from the foil that we want is this lovely loopy love in here. Just pop that out of the base sheet. Like I said, you just need to be a little bit more delicate with the foil, just because the die cuts are much thinner. It would be easier to rip them. You definitely don't want to do that. Okay, bow number 3. Let's do this again. So this time I am just going to do the single wrap, and we'll see if we can get the bow to be a little bit bigger and more obvious on the side. I probably can do that, yes. If it's not too easy to see, I shall see if I can find a different way of showing that on the next one. Thanks for asking, Rach. Okay, so bigger bow tied on there. Just going to pull that through slightly. I'm going to pop this onto my card front. Let's grab this. So again, just 5 of the dimensionals across the back of the embossed piece to add it to your card front. And pop that onto the front of your card, like so. I'm going to pop my wreath on next, again just with 3 of the dimensionals onto the back of there. Oh, I see they're watching too. Hi guys, hope you are enjoying. So there is my wreath piece onto the front. So okay, if I try and show this on a darker background so you can see a little bit better. So I've got my foam mat, so hopefully this shows up a little bit better. So here is my foil die cut word. So I'm going to pop this over and find my glue dots that I've managed to shimmy out of the way. Okay, 2 seconds. There they are. Okay, so with my glue dots and my stabby pokey tool, I'm going to grab one of my glue dots from the piece of backing on here. So I just lift up slightly, and then using this, it means I can actually move my glue dot around without it being stuck to my finger. And then you want to try and get your glue dots onto parts of the sort of phrase where it's thickest. So good spots on here would be where the L loop is. So just pop that one on there. And then I'll grab another one. And I want to put one down towards this end because this is going to sit on the other side of the wreath to adhere it. So I'm going to pop it where the loop of the E is at its thickest, just there. like so. So I've just got 2 glue dots on there. You don't need a huge amount of this, it's just enough to bond it to the background. If using the glue dots doesn't work for you, you could also use some of the liquid glue. Just do really tiny dots of this just on the parts of the die cut that are going to hit onto the wreath, and then use that to stick it down. And then I'm going to use my stabby tool on here. I'm just going to stab this into the backing paper on my glue dot, and hopefully you can see that I've got the backing paper on the end of my take a pick, and then the glue dot is left just there on my foiled word. It's the easiest way that I know to get the backs off these nice and easily. So I'm going to pick up my foiled word, bring back in my card, and then the foil part just literally sits across the front of the wreath, just like so. So the 2 glue dots that I've used on this one, there's one just up here and one just under here. So like I said, obviously you don't need to worry about putting any across the middle, because obviously this is going to sit over the centre of the wreath, so you don't need to worry about gluing that part down. Just as long as you have some glue on this side and then on the end as well, that'll be enough to bond it to the front of your card. So I hope that was a little bit clearer for you that time around. So I've got then my little sentiment phrase that I'm going to add underneath, and again I'm going to use a couple more of the dimensional pieces for this. So squeeze those on and peel off the backs, and then this just wants to sit in exactly the same way, so just under the foil part on top of your wreath, just like so. And that is our 3rd card done, so I can join the others down the side here. So for the last of the portrait cards then, so again I've got my card base, my embossed piece, a wreath, my stamped sentiment, and a piece of twine. And for this one we are doing sending peace. So I'm going to pop my foiled word out of the backing paper. Rach, that was the door. Sorry, somebody at the door. Pretty sure that means that our popcorn has just arrived. Rach, the door. Yeah. We there's a local company to us here in Swansea called Blake's Popcorn, bit of free publicity for them. They make this amazing kettle corn that we discovered a couple of weeks ago, and they deliver on a Saturday. So as long as you place your order during the week, I think before either a Wednesday or a Thursday evening, they will deliver freshly popped kettle corn to your door. So that is our treat for the weekend. Hold on, let me grab a bag to show you. So here is our delicious kettle corn. Not sponsored in any way, I just really love what they do. This will keep us going for a good couple of weeks at this point. This is a cinnamon popped kettle corn. Utterly delicious. If you're in Swansea, Talbot, Neath, anywhere around there, Blake's Popcorn, look them up, you will not be disappointed. My plan for the rest of this evening and probably tomorrow: Christmas movies, under a blanket, freshly popped popcorn, utterly delicious. Like I said, I'm unfortunately in self-isolation once again, so I can't go out anywhere, so that is literally my weekend plan. I may do a little bit of gaming. Those of you that know me know that I do like to play the odd video game here and there. I have been known to do some of that every now and again, so I'm sure there'll be a bit of gaming this weekend too. I'm allowed to go back out into the world on Wednesday. That is when my self-isolation period ends, as long as I don't develop any weird and wonderful symptoms between now and then. Then yes, I can go back into the world and go back to work on Wednesday. So until then, I am stuck at home. But that's fine, I will make the most of it. I've got, like I said, plenty of crafting to do. There are Christmas films to be watched. There's now popcorn to be eaten. We've got a lot going on. So I've been busily doing this. You might have noticed I've managed to tie my bow onto the front of my embossed piece. Go me. Apparently the more you do, the easier it gets. I'm just going to pop my embossed piece down onto the base of my card, and then I'm going to add on my wreath, a couple more dimensionals here. I'm going to add my wreath onto the front of my card here. And then I've got my foil die cut words. So again, I'm just going to pop this over, and I'll show you this time how to do this with liquid glue. So if you don't like using the glue dots for any reason, or you'd prefer to use a liquid glue, this is the one that we stock at Stampin' Up, Tombow liquid glue. It is fantastic. I love this stuff, but bear in mind that you don't need a lot. So looking at this word, if I kind of line this up over the front of my wreath, this one's slightly bigger than the others. So I'm probably going to want some glue around the loop of the P and around the top of the E, just to hold it in place. So if I turn this over, what you want to do with this is just very tiny dots of glue. You don't need to squeeze hard with this at all. You just want to get a little tiny bead of glue out of the end, and then just add a couple of teeny tiny dots. I'll hold this up for you in a second so you can see what I mean by a teeny tiny dot of glue. So hopefully if I hold this up a little bit closer, you can see I've just got 3 tiny dots there and on the E as well. So it's just enough to hold the foil die cut piece in place, but hopefully it shouldn't squeeze out over the front of my card. So I'm going to pop this over and put it into place on my card front. And because we're using liquid glue, obviously you do need to just give it a few seconds for it to bond. It won't sort of grab straight away in the same way that a glue dot would. So pop that to one side. I shall put some dimensionals onto the back of my sentiment piece. And this time, I'm glad I remembered this before I put it at the bottom. This one's going to go at the top. Obviously you say sending piece, not piece sending. So you're going to want to put this towards the top of your wreath, just over your foiled die cut. So that is our first 4 cards done. So these are sort of the portrait designed cards. So we've got Joy to the World in English and French, Love to You and Yours, and then Sending Peace. So really lovely cards. I love all of the gold foil detail on these. I do love a bit of bling on my cards, so these are definitely right up my street. So I'm going to pop these to one side and we shall move on with the landscape style cards. So if I grab in the pieces for those. So for each one of these we are going to need our card base. You need 2 of these little floral die cuts. Just make sure I do have all of them here. Yes, I do. Good. 2 of those. You're going to need your Merry Christmas sentiment piece and 1 of these square white embossed pieces of cardstock as well. And with this one things go a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do first of all is to pop my embossed piece down onto the base of my card. So just grabbing my stamping dimensionals here, I'm just going to put 4 dimensionals onto the back of these. It's a smaller piece of card, so you don't need quite as much of the dimensional to sort of anchor it or to pop it up. 4 should be plenty. And with this piece then, I'm just going to make sure I'm doing this the right way around. Let's have a look. Yes, that way. So you want to put this more towards the left hand side. So you'll end up with a larger gap down here than you have down here. But make sure that you do centre it top to bottom. And I think that one looks good. And then taking your 2 Christmas pieces, you want to put these, if I bring this in so you can see. So you've got here your 2 die cut pieces behind the sentiment, and then the twine goes behind them in a loop. So you want to put these together like so, but flip them over. And I'm going to use some dimensionals then to pop these together. So I'm going to cheat this ever so slightly. I'm going to use one of the dimensionals to actually stick these two die cut pieces together. It's just very loosely stuck. Obviously it's not going to hold for too long, but it should be enough for us to be able to put these pieces onto our card front. I'm just making sure I definitely have these lined up, probably a little bit further apart. So pop this off here and pop it that way instead. Okay, and then I'm going to put some more dimensionals across the back of both of them. And then taking our piece of twine, if you pop the backs off your dimensionals, what you're going to want to do then is to stick the end of your twine onto one of your dimensionals. Let me grab in my grey background so you can see this again a little clearer. And then you just want to loop your twine through the adhesive on the backs of these die cut pieces. So you don't have to do this in any particular way. It's just so the twine sort of shows through behind your die cut on the front of your card. What I would suggest is you always make sure that you anchor the ends so they don't end up sticking out of your project anywhere. Okay. And then if I bring back in my card base, you then want to add this piece down all together. So the die cut rose pieces along with all of the twine that is behind them, just onto the front of your card like so. And then our Merry Christmas piece is going to sit over one of these foil tags on here. So I'm just going to pop this out of the backing sheet. And this basically sits over this just like that. So I'm going to put some glue dots onto the back of, no, in fact I'm going to put them onto the front of here, because then that we can make sure that they're in the right place. So again, using my stabby tool, I'm just going to pop 3 glue dots across the center of this piece of foil. Make sure you don't go too far out to the edges. If you'll notice, this sentiment piece doesn't go all the way to the ends, so you want to make sure that your glue dots are more focused into the center. And then again, I'm going to use the end of my take a pick and just stab the backing paper to pull it off the glue dots. And pop those off there. And then you want to sit your stamped sentiment piece over the top, just like so. And I'm going to flip the whole thing over and put some dimensionals across the back. So just 2 on the back of here should be enough. And then your Merry Christmas sentiment goes right across the center of these die cut pieces, just like so. And that is our landscape version of the cards. I'm just going to repeat that again then 4 more times for the others. So I've got my base and my embossed piece, so I'll put dimensionals onto that first of all. If anyone else has any questions, if there's anything you'd like me to go over, add a comment, ask your questions. I'd be happy to answer those for you. If you have any sort of queries on how any of this has gone together, if you want me to go back over anything, do let me know. So I'm going to pop this piece down first of all, more towards the left. Like I said, you should have a bigger gap down the right hand side of your card front. And then I'm going to grab 2 of my die cut flower pieces. and lay them down together, and just use one of the dimensionals right across the middle of both of them just to hold them together, and then pop a couple more around the edges. And then take a piece of my twine, grab the backs off all of these dimensionals, and again I'm going to anchor the end in first just to make sure it doesn't end up poking out on my card front, and then just loop my twine in and around over the dimensionals. And then lifting the whole thing up, I'm going to stick this onto the card front. And then I'm going to grab my stamped piece and another one of these gold banners. Some more of my glue dots. Pop those across the centre. And then stab the backs of these. It doesn't matter that we're stabbing through. The foil here is going to be covered with our stamped sentiment piece anyway, so don't worry about getting violent, it's absolutely fine. Okay, line this up so that it's nicely centered over the gold foil. And then pop some dimensionals onto the back of your sentiment piece. And then again, I'm just going to sit this right across the center of my die cut pieces to complete that card. So like I said, these paper pumpkin kits are incredibly easy to put together. You know, other than some light stamping, which hopefully, if you've never stamped before, you can see that it is incredibly easy to do. There's not a lot of sort of technical things that you need to do with a paper pumpkin kit or with any of our project kits from Stampin' Up. I've put together quite a few project kits on my YouTube channel, so if you haven't seen those videos, do go and check that out. You can find me under Inky Memories over on YouTube. Lots of different project kits, like I said, that I've put together. I did another paper pumpkin kit back in August as well. There was a really fun, bright one for the summer. But they're, like I said, incredibly easy to put together. Even if you are a complete beginner, it's definitely something that you can do. They have great instructions. You have lots of images showing you how your finished cards should look, so you can see where all of the pieces need to go. Everything that you need, especially in the all-inclusive kits, all these paper pumpkin boxes, everything that you need is included in the box. That includes your adhesive, you know, your ink, your stamp set, and all of the paper pieces as well. They also make really nice gifts. So if you know someone who is, you know, looking at crafting or wants to get into crafting, but they don't have a lot of craft supplies of their own, one of the all-inclusive kits would make a great gift for them. It's got everything that they need to have a go and make some cards, or there was a gift tag kit that we've done recently as well. So yeah, like I say, a great way to get into crafting if it's something that you haven't done before. Or even if it is something that you have done before, it's nice sometimes just to put together a kit that someone else has done all of the design work and all the cutting out for you, and you can just spend a nice relaxed afternoon You know, put some Christmas tunes on if you're putting together a Christmas kit, or even if you're not putting together a Christmas kit, and do some nice simple crafting. Have a nice relaxing afternoon putting these things together. Okay, almost done. We're on to our penultimate card at this point. So again, I'm going to pop some more glue dots onto my gold foil piece here. Just 3 of these across the middle. And then stab off that backing paper. And then I'm going to stick my sentiment piece over the top. And then a few more dimensionals onto the back of that. So once you get into the swing of putting these together, they are lovely and quick. There we go, that is our 3rd one done. Last one. Got my base, my sentiment, my embossed piece, and my 2 little flower pieces. And then of course my gold foil banner. And you can see that I have a lot of these foiled pieces left over, some in English and some in French and German. So these again, you could definitely keep these to one side. You can put these onto some other cards or projects for yourself. You know, you can always change up the sentiments on the portrait cards if you wanted to use the French or the German sentiments on there, then you absolutely can do that. I'm pretty sure the kit is still available, so if you have been watching and this is something that you would like to have a go at yourself, just pop over to my store on the Stampin' Up website. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the kit is still available. It was when I checked yesterday, so I hope that it hasn't sold out overnight. You can grab one for yourself, and once your kit arrives, you can come back to this video on Facebook or on YouTube, wherever you're watching, and watch as I assemble it. So if you have any sort of queries about how parts of it go together, hopefully I've answered it in the video for you, and you can just follow along and put together your own kit too. So last set of dimensionals onto our printed die cut pieces here, and I've got my last piece of twine. So again, I'm just going to peel the backs off my dimensionals and loop my twine around my die cut pieces. And there's no real right or wrong way to do this. You're basically just anchoring the twine into the adhesive. It was sort of the important part, like I said, was just to make sure that the cut ends are anchored within the adhesive so they don't come free and sort of poke out of the edge on your finished card. So die cut pieces then going onto my card front, just like that, and then some more glue dots going onto my foil piece. Okay, grab the backing paper off these again. And then a couple of dimensionals on the back of my sentiment to add that to the card. Pop that right across the center. And that is my last card put together. Now I did say earlier that I didn't want to leave my envelopes naked, even though they are really nicely lined on the inside. I want to stamp a little something onto the front of these as well. And since I have my stamps here, why not? I've got my stamps, I've got my ink, I might as well take advantage of it. So I've got back here my wreath stamp and my little mini ink pad. And all I'm going to do is just ink this up and stamp it onto the front of each of my envelopes. So just a little something onto the front. And in fact, there is another stamp in this set that would also be really nice to put onto some of these. So you've got this little Christmas rose spray on here. So we can do some of the envelopes with that stamp as well, just to mix it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 with wreaths and then 4 with the little Christmas roses. As Rachel says, no naked envelopes. It is the one and only rule in my craft room. Anything else goes, but we don't leave envelopes naked around here. I think your envelopes need to look as nice as your cards. Okay. So 2 more of this one. Again, just nice light taps with your ink pad onto your stamp, just enough to ink it up. And then you press your stamp straight down and lift it straight back up to get your stamp. Okay, last one of the wreaths. Okay, and then I'm going to switch to this little sprig and stamp the rest of my envelopes with this. I'm going to pop this one down in the lower right corner. There we go. To go. So this is a really quick kit to put together actually, so we've been live for what, 1 hour and 25 minutes. I've done a whole bunch of chatting during that time as well, and I've managed to make 8 Christmas cards, so that's another 8 to add to my stack. I've already got quite a good stack of Christmas cards this year. I'm actually well ahead of the game, which is very unusual for me. I'm normally scrabbling in around the 2nd week of December, realising, oh my goodness, it's December already. I need Christmas cards, but thankfully, since I've been making videos this year for YouTube and sort of putting those together, I have probably around 10 or 15 cards already made, plus now these 8 to add to that collection. And I've still got quite a few more Christmas projects to record, so there'll be a whole bunch more cards coming as well. I will ask Rachel very nicely while I am chatting here just to pop a link to my YouTube channel up into chat for you in case you wanted to go and check out any of the other project tutorials that I've done. I do have a playlist of all of the Christmas cards that I've put together for this year over on the channel, so you can go through, have a look at all of those, see if any of those cards and projects take your fancy and give them a go for yourself. So all of my envelopes are stamped, and here are all of my cards ready to send. So we've got these lovely Merry Christmas cards with their gorgeous little Christmas roses on the front, and then these lovely different sentiment ones, so sending peace, love to you and yours, and then joy to the world. And that is the completed paper pumpkin kit. Like I said, it's an incredibly easy one to put together. I would definitely recommend. Do go and grab it for yourself. That's 8 Christmas cards that you've made and that you can send out to friends and family just to wish them a very Merry Christmas on what has been a very unusual year. And I'm sure you, like me, are missing friends and family tremendously at the moment, so sending them something that you've made yourself just to say hello and to wish them a Merry Christmas would be a lovely way to get in touch over the festive season. While I am here, I do have some fairly exciting news too. Our new catalogues have arrived, so I can't show you the insides of these yet. I am still banned from showing you those just yet, but we have the new January to June mini catalogue and the celebration brochure. There's a little sneak hint on the fronts of these as to the types of things that you can expect to see inside of them. These will be going out in the post to anyone that has shopped with me over the last 6 months. They'll be in the post to you probably around the second week of December. I'll be ordering them first thing next week, so as soon as they arrive I'll be posting them out to you. If you are not currently on my mailing list and you would like a copy of these catalogues and the celebration brochure, which, if you haven't heard of celebration before, basically you get to earn free products. Every order that you make, you will earn something for free from this catalogue. So biggest sale of Stampin' Up's year, you don't want to miss out. If you want these catalogues, Rachel has popped a link into chat for you to request a copy and get on my mailing list, and I'll make sure that you get these as soon as they arrive with me. And you can have a look at everything that's inside here once the embargo has been lifted. So thank you for joining me today in my craft room. I really hope that you've enjoyed watching me put these cards together and that it has inspired you to have a go yourself, to make your own Christmas cards. Or even if you wanted to start smaller, make some Christmas tags or some gift packaging. Do a little something handmade for Christmas this year and get into the festive spirit and make something. And thank you again for joining me. I don't have a Facebook Live scheduled as yet for December. Depending on how things go, I may or may not have a project to put together. Keep an eye on my Facebook page. If I do decide to do something, it will be announced on there for you. But that is it from me for today. So again, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in my craft room again very soon. Bye bye.